Welcome back. Do you like quilts?
I love quilts.
Have you ever made a quilt?
No.
I have. I made
You
a quilt
have?
before I got married. I was 20 years old, and I got a bunch of pieces. It's nothing. There's no pattern, but I still have that quilt. I love that quilt. It was because it's something that I did, I accomplished, and never made one since. But I think I could do it. But two girls are here to talk about vintage quilts.
Absolutely.
And why are we showing us vintage quilts? It's
Well,
not to entice me to buy one, because I would be one.
It is not. You know, usually when I come, I'm here to talk about the quilt show, and I tell everybody about these are not your grandmother's quilts. Well, these are your grandmother's
Okay.
quilts.
And these are pulled out of the vault, so to speak?
Out of people's closets. We have a monthly meeting for Hill and Hollow Quilters Guild,
Right.
and our next meeting is Friday, August 10th at 9:30 in the morning, and we have Ann Hazelwood coming from St. Charles, Missouri. And Ann is a really interesting person. She is an author, and she is a quilt expert. And she will tell you that quilts are her love, but writing is her passion, and she's going to be sharing both of those with us. Her program is 100 years of quilt making. So she's going to bring some quilts to share with us. We're also asking our members to bring their vintage quilts.
Which is what you brought here.
Which is part of what these
Yeah,
are.
okay.
And she's going to put them in order chronologically and talk about how she dates quilts when she does quilt appraisals, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
And some of the important things to know about each era of quilt making.
So there's different eras of, I mean, you can tell by how a quilt is put together that
You can
it's
tell
from
by
one
the,
era?
You can tell by
than
the
other.
fabrics, you can tell by the
Okay.
construction techniques, you can tell by the quilting patterns.
So you can't fake that in these days to
No,
try
you
to-
really can't.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Did you have
but I
something to
don't-
say, Dian?
I was also going to say color. Color
Yes.
is
Color,
part of
okay.
it as well.
You mean the fading of the color, or?
The colors that are used in the quilts, like you'll see in the two quilts there in the middle, there's a lot of pink.
Yeah.
And that was popular color. This one was from the
Oh, okay,
70s, and
okay.
yellow and orange were
Now,
popular.
when was the pink one made? Do you know, this one that you talked about?
I believe that one was made in the 30s, maybe the 20s.
Really?
That quilt was made in Rector, Arkansas by...
It's in good shape.
It's in absolutely great shape by, we called her Mama Crockett. Her name was Ella Mebane Crockett. She was a prolific quilter. She lived to be 102, and I think she was quilting up until very close to the time that she passed. That was kept, I think, in the basement or in the attic, and after her youngest daughter passed, the house was cleaned out and they found the quilt, and it was given to me.
Oh.
Because you're a quilter.
Because I'm a quilter,
Well,
and I
lucky you.
appreciate and will take care of it.
Now, we probably, these are in chronological order, is that correct?
Starts at that
Let's
end.
start on that end, because that fabric with a lot of close lines, I've seen my not my grandfather wear stuff like that. in
That
that
quilt
pattern.
probably dates from the 1890s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That
Wow.
was
Yeah.
beautiful.
And you can tell the black prints are called mourning prints, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. It's got some indigo to it, and it's in excellent shape, hand-pieced, hand-quilted.
But you don't know where that fabric came from. Would they use new fabric, or would they take used
Depends
fabric?
on how wealthy they
Okay,
were.
yeah. Okay,
Most of the time, they used what they had.
yeah.
Worn out clothes.
They
Backs
would
of
make their
shirts
clothes,
and-
and it would be left over from a shirt. Like you can see in the second one there, there's lots of scrappy
Yeah.
pieces of fabric there that she had from maybe other quilts or from sewing projects.
And you can tell these are hand quilted because they're imperfectly stitched, if you know what I mean. They're not machine.
Well, a machine stitch, the formation of the stitch is very different from a hand quilting stitch.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, these are all hand quilted.
And the stitching is really, really small when they go in and out. So.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So Ann's going to come. She's going to date quilts. She's going to tell us
Okay.
about history. She's going to tell us about techniques. And she is really very well qualified to do this.
She's certified, or has
She is a certified quilt appraiser.
Okay.
She owned a quilt shop for about 30 years. She maintains a studio in downtown St. Charles, Missouri to this day. She is the current president of the board of directors of the National Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky, which is a big deal. And as we said, she's a certified quilt appraiser.
Yeah.
That is not an easy certification to get. It's a 3-year deal. You get certified for 3 years, and then you have to recertify.
Oh my gosh.
It's a program offered through the American Quilter Society, which is headquartered in Paducah. And they have classes, they have a reading list.
Yeah.
But you apply to become a certified appraiser. It's reviewed, your application is reviewed by a committee, and then you have to take a test. And there is a written test and an oral examination in which they interview you and
They're
have you
serious
do
about this, aren't
oral appraisals. Right.
Wow.
Right. And the skills that she has based on her study, based on her experience, she can establish a date for a quilt, at least in terms of an era, whether it's
Okay.
1890s, 1920s, 1940s,
Okay.
whatever. She can determine the fabric and fiber content of your quilt, for the most part. She can identify the construction techniques used and the materials used and the finishing techniques used. She will determine the quality of both the construction of the quilt and the quilting, the actual quilt stitches, and how those affect the quilt's value.
So
Wow.
should our viewers bring their quilt to be appraised?
Actually,
Or is
it's
that
too
not?
late for that.
It's too late, okay.
Diana, you want to speak to that?
Right, she will be doing quilt appraisals, and we offered it to guild members probably in March, and it filled up the first day.
Okay.
So unfortunately, she's only going to be here a short time. However, if someone should be interested in having a quilt appraised, they could contact her through her website. And that website is booksontthings.com.
Books on Things.
Books on Things. She is in the St. Louis area, but that is an alternative that a person would have available to them.
And we hope people will come to the meeting.
Is
It's-
it admission free to come to a
It's
meeting?
$5 for this
$5?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
$5 for this one, but it's. I think it'll be really
Yeah,
educational.
educational, yeah.
Yeah, and if people have quilts they'd like to have her slip into the chronology, I hope they'll bring those too.
Oh, that'd be
Wow.
nice, that'd be
Yeah.
nice. Now, I've got just about a minute or so left. Quilting, is it a dying art?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
It's
not.
alive and well in the United States at least.
Yes.
How many members are in your guild?
We have about 150 right now.
Wow.
Good.
It takes a lot of time to do a quilt, doesn't it?
It keeps us off the streets and out of the pool.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody should be building
It's
a quilt.
a talent I don't have, but you can just tell the amount of work that goes into these.
Well, as a guild, we offer classes for beginning quilters.
Oh, really?
And we have workshops for more experienced quilters. We teach each other things.
Yeah, right. Vicki and I both taught classes as well, so.
You still hand quilt?
Not me. There are 3 ways to quilt. There's hand quilting, there's machine quilting, and then there's quilting by checkbook when you pay somebody else to do it
That's
for
the
you.
kind I could be an
That's
expert
what
in
I
that.
do. That's what I do.
Basically, what you're saying, you don't get your money back when you hand quilt.
No. This
an
is something you do for love, not for
Oh,
money.
sure,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I love my quilt. I still have it. It's a little tattered and torn. The kids have gone through it, but I still have it. It's worth nothing to anyone else but me.
You
so.
should take it and have her put.
Oh, I can tell you where the material came from.
Well, speaking of that,
We have about 30 seconds.
this is a really important
Oh
quilt
my
to
gosh,
me.
yeah, we need to talk about this.
This quilt
one.
was made from my father's baby clothes in the 1920s.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
My father was
That's
supposed
neat.
to be a girl,
It's pink. Yeah.
so it's pink.
Is that a certain pattern? I don't know if our camera can pick that up. But
You know,
it's awfully
it's
bright.
so faded you really can't see the pattern in it
Yeah.
very well.
That
because
is
it's
wonderful.
very faded pink.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing that. Appreciate it. And this event again is when, so our viewers know about
It is Friday, August 10th.
August
At
10th,
9:30 a.m. at Redeemer Lutheran Church in the Family Life
All right,
Center.
we got it. Thank y'all for being
Great.
here.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And thanks to all the
Thank you.
guests that have been here this week. And we'd like to thank you, Karen, for being here one more time. And I hope you can hold out and come one more time.
I am counting the hours till I
And,
can come
and
back.
if she calls and says that she's not coming, I'm gonna do some serious thinking.
You do that.
Yeah. She'll have my head. She'll be carrying it around the square. Thank y'all for being here. And we thank you for being here. We'll see you again next time.